Storm family, welcome back to my channel. If you're new, I'm Danny. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button down below. Don't forget to turn on the notification bell because I am posting lots because I can't go anywhere. And if you're not already following me on Instagram, please be sure to do that. It is at _dancing_bookworm, and I post on there full book reviews and content. Anyway, so today, if you are part of my grades 3 through 5 reading club, we are reading the second section of Inside Out and Back Again by Thon Ha Lei. If you have no idea what I'm talking about, then click up here or click down in the bio down below to see all the information that you need for joining the reading club. I will tell you guys that we are in section 2 of the reading club now, so we're pretty far into it because there's only 3 sections. However, if you want to join and do this at your own pace, you're more than welcome to, and in the future I hope to do another one. But for right now, we're going to talk about Inside Out and Back Again, section 2. So for section 2, we find out that Ha and her family must survive on a boat with very little food and water. When they are rescued, they are placed in a camp until someone comes and gets them, like sponsors have to come get them to work or go to school or whatever they choose for them to do. Kind of like finding like a servant or help. They just picked these people out of these camps that they had to stay at because they weren't allowed to be like officially admitted into the country unless they had a reason to be there. However, Ha's family is so big they have trouble getting sponsored. Once they are offered a sponsorship, Ha must start school and is bullied for where she came from. So eventually a man comes and he's from Alabama and he's looking for just a boy, but Ha's mom, like, he thinks that Ha's older brother would be great for what he's looking for, but Ha's mom cries so much and like she doesn't even speak English. She's just crying and crying and crying. She doesn't want her family separated, that the guy from Alabama takes all of them, and his wife was not happy about it, but he did it and it helped out Ha's family so much because they got to all stay together. So the word of the week is amethyst. Amethyst is a precious stone, a purple or violet colored stone. The sentence is, the amethyst necklace was so sparkly and smooth that I wanted to keep holding it in my hands. So amethyst is a very, very light purple stone. You can see it in necklaces, you can see it on a ring, something like that. But it's also a birthstone, I believe. So you might be born in the month that has amethyst as their birthstone. I don't know all the months of the birthstones, but I do know it's like a purple gem or stone that you would find in jewelry. And the question that goes along with that is, what is your favorite kind of stone or gem? I would say mine's amber, because amber has healing properties in it, which I think is really cool. So like, it's also like got like lava or something. It's not lava, it's like a lava rock or something it's formed out of. But I used to have these really pretty amber necklaces that my friend from high school gave me, and he was from Lithuania, and amber was really common there. So he gave me like this amber necklace, and it was so pretty, and when you touched it, it just felt warm, and like you hear of like the amber color stuff being warm, but like the actual stone just, it was like pure amber stone, and it just like, when I held it, it just felt warm. Like it wasn't actually like warm to the touch, but it just was like a warm thing. I don't know how to explain it, but I really like amber. So yeah, so what's your favorite stone or gem? You guys can comment that down below too. Like, don't feel like you can only comment the questions. Like, you can comment the other stuff too. It'll be okay. But let's jump into the questions. So question 1 is, what country was the boat from that came to rescue the people from the ship fleeing Saigon? So the boat was from the USA, and when they came, they had lots of food, and everybody kind of got like a moment of relief when they got there before they had to go to their next country. Number 2, what does Ha do to the man in the poem Golden Fuzz? So there's a poem in here called Golden Fuzz. I'm going to see if I can find it. Yep, it's right here. But basically, let's read. Water, water, still everywhere, but in the distance appears a black dot. We are told to pack our crisscrossed packs and line up in a single file. 20 at a time board a motorboat heading toward the dot. An arm extends to help us board, an arm hairy with fuzz. I touch it, so real and long, not knowing if I will ever have another chance to touch the golden fuzz. I pluck one hair. Mother slaps my hand. Brother Kwong speaks quickly in the language I must learn. The fuzzy man and laughs. I'm grateful the boat starts to rock so Mother hasn't the composure to scold me, not just yet. I roll the fuzz souvenir between my thumb and finger, and I can't help but smile. So this is like Ha's first time. Ha comes from a place where people's skin is usually like a lightish dark color, and they have dark hair standardly. So this is her first time seeing a blonde person. She's never seen a blonde person before, so she didn't realize that the hair on somebody who's blonde on their arms is also kind of a blondish color. So she plucks one of the hair out of his arms and she's like playing with it because she's so mesmerized. Normally people where she's from have long dark black hair on their arms. Not like long, but like dark black hair on their arms, so she can't figure out like why his hair is blonde on his arm, so she just plucks one. And because she doesn't speak English, she can't explain that to him, so her brother has to, which is probably pretty embarrassing for her family. Number 3, where does the mother first consider moving to? Where does she choose instead? So their mother first considers moving to Paris to go stay with a cousin that none of them have actually met before, but at least she knew someone there. And the man behind her whispers, no, go to America instead because there's lots more opportunities for the boys. So she decides that for the sake of her 3 sons that they're going to go to America. Number 4, what state is the family sponsored to? So when the cowboy comes, he is from Alabama, and he takes his family. He only wants Quan at first, but the mother ends up convincing him to take the whole family, so they all move to Alabama. Number 5, where does the cowboy take Ha? So Ha's kind of being lazy, not really doing anything, and whiny, and kind of like a bored 10-year-old. Maybe like some of you who are stuck at home right now who are being bored and whiny and you want to go do something but you can't do anything. So the cowboy takes Ha and makes her register for school. So she gets signed up to go to school. Number 6, what will Brother Vu teach Ha to do? So Ha starts getting bullied at school right on her first day. People have never seen a Vietnamese girl before and they don't really understand why she looks the way she looks. Also, they aren't really fond of people who are from Vietnam because their country, like America, took a huge loss of soldiers, of a whole bunch of stuff. Like there was just a whole lot of things wrong with their country during the Vietnam War. And so people kind of took that out on people who were from Vietnam, even though it wasn't always their fault. So they are really, really mean to Ha. So Brother Vu agrees to teach her self-defense because Ha wants to like learn how to fight them. And he says, no, I won't teach you how to fight them, not with your temper, but I'll teach you self-defense in case you ever need it. Number 7 is who is the only neighbor to show their family kindness, and that's Mrs. Washington. And we find out why later, but Mrs. Washington is the only neighbor. They go from house to house to introduce themselves. They get doors slammed in their face. People really were not kind to people from Vietnam back then. And Mrs. Washington opens her door and she takes them into a giant hug and she welcomes them into her house and she offers to tutor the kids and help them with their English more and stuff like that because she used to be a teacher. So Mrs. Washington is the answer to that question. Number 8, what did the family have to do at the church to be more welcomed by the community? So in order to get people to kind of talk to them and respect them, they ended up having to go basically declare a different faith. So they aren't Christians. They're from a country. They have, I believe from what it sounds like in the book, they were Buddhists, but I don't want to say that 100% because I don't know, but it sounds like that's what it was. But they believe in a completely different faith. When they get there, the mother has to check on the application that they're Christians because people will only take them if they're Christians. So she already denounces their faith for that, like she says that they're Christians even though they're not. And then they have to start going to church when they get there every Sunday. And one of the things they have to do is they have to get baptized because people will not speak to them unless they know that they're true Christians. In that it's like a little southern religious town, so people really, really valued what their religion was and how they went about it. They get baptized, the community is much more welcoming of them. The next question was, write a journal entry about a time you felt you didn't fit in. So I didn't have a chance to write a journal entry, but it was a pretty simple question. A time I didn't really feel like I fit in probably was when I first started my job I worked at a retail store, not the job that I have now. I fit in really quickly in the job that I have now. But I worked at a retail store, and I won't say which one. But basically, everybody kind of had like all these friends and cliques, and it was weird because they were all adults, but everybody kind of like hung out with specific people and like only talked to specific people and stuff like that. So when I came in, nobody really talked to me. So I had to kind of make friends quickly. And so somebody started talking to me, and I was like, oh, cool, like this person's really nice or whatever. And I started talking to them, and I found out that apparently that person is like not like a cool person to hang out with, and the cool people didn't like her, but I didn't care because she was really nice to me, so I ended up still talking to her and hanging out with her. But it was really like interesting to see like the person who didn't have friends because she wasn't cool was actually the person who talked to me first and was nice to me first. So, and I don't really care about being cool or not, so I hung out with her anyway. But that was the time that it was difficult for me to like fit into what other people wanted me to fit in for, which is kind of what's happening with Ha, because like she is slowly starting to feel like at home in Alabama, like very slowly, but she like becomes friends with Mrs. Washington and stuff. But she's still being really outcasted at school, and like people don't think it's cool to like be her or like hang out with her, so she's being outcasted because she's not cool or not what people want to hang out with, which is not fair. So anyway, our discussion this week is Ha feels very unaccepted by her peers. People in the USA had a very negative look towards people from Vietnam after the war. They are often blamed for the loss of American soldiers. Do you know anything about the Vietnam War? Take this time to talk to someone in your family, grandparent or other, who lived through the Vietnam War and see what impact it had on them. What was their outlook on people who were from Vietnam, and has their opinion changed? So I didn't really talk to anyone because the only person that I could think of was my dad, and he passed away in November. So, but him and I have had a chance to talk, like had a chance to talk about this kind of stuff before he passed away. And so the Vietnam War actually took one of his brother's lives from him. So that was like his brother got really sick over there, and he ended up passing away once he got back to the US. So like he didn't die in the war, but he got sick because he went to war. So my dad did have a very, like, negative outlook of Vietnam, and my dad was very, like, old-fashioned, so, like, his opinions didn't change very much, but kind of, like, as I grew up and stuff, and I had friends who were Asian American, or, you know, I had friends who were different, like, sexualities or different like genders and race and stuff like that. As that kind of happened, my dad like sort of started seeing like, oh, like we all live in like a big community now, and my daughter doesn't really see the color of their skin or know why and stuff like that. But it was definitely hard for him, I think, like losing his brother and stuff because of the war. He definitely had a hard time kind of understanding other people who were from Vietnam or from other Asian countries. And that was the problem too, and we can kind of see this right now, and it's a sad thing, but people kind of classify a race as a country. So like people see everybody with white skin like ours and classify us as like American, or, you know, everybody who thinks if you're from America you have a southern accent, which we don't all have southern accents, you know. But it's also kind of sad because people like look at people who are Asian American and they just classify them all as like, oh, they're Chinese or they're Vietnamese, or that like they don't actually take the time to get to know what their like cultural area is. And most of the time I've seen this happen, the person ends up being born in America, and people are like, oh, you're from China, and they're like, no, I'm not, I'm from America. Like and it's actually really sad right now because the coronavirus that we're going through right now, this pandemic started in China, so people are being really, some people who aren't intelligent, that's how I'm gonna word it, because that's the truth, but some people who aren't intelligent are like, oh, all the Chinese people brought this to us, so we shouldn't be friends with Chinese people. That is not true at all. A pandemic is not something that, any virus is not something that a race caused. It's just something that kind of happened, and people traveled, and it was brought here from other countries, but it's not because people are Chinese that we have this virus right now. So it's just small-minded thinking, and unfortunately my dad did kind of think that way about people who are from Vietnam, but he did his best to try to hear me out on those things and like not be so begrudging towards a certain race. But yeah, he definitely had an old-fashioned mindset. But I'm curious to see if other people out there do. So if you feel comfortable sharing like your grandparents' stories or your parents' stories who may have lived through the Vietnam War, please comment them down below, because I'm interested to see. Because my family is like, my mom's side of the family is like totally like everybody's accepted, like judgment-free zone. But my dad's side of the family was kind of like country family, and they lived in a very small town area, so they didn't have like a lot of worldly stuff around them, so they kind of just like was given a thought and that's what they went with. And that's kind of what's happening in this community that Ha's in. It's a very small town religious community, and not that there's anything wrong with that, but unfortunately what's happened to the people in the community is one person said, oh, all people from Vietnam are bad, and everybody else thought that. So that's kind of what Ha's going through. So next time we meet, we will be doing, it will be April 8th, and we'll have finished the book, which is exciting, and we'll be doing section 3 questions and discussion. So I'm going to just read those questions to you really quick. And you can either download the Google Doc, which will be down below, or you can just answer them as you go along with this video. So question 1 is, what are the names of the 2 kids that eat with Ha in the classroom? So Ha starts making friends. What are their names? Number 2, where did Mrs. Washington's son die? Number 3, what was Brother Quang able to do that no one else could do at work? Number 4, what do Pink Boy's friends think Ha called him? Number 5, what did Mrs. Washington give Ha for Christmas? Number 6, what did Ha accidentally wear to her first day back to school after the holiday? Number 7, what is Ha's wish for the new year? And number 8, what was your wish or resolution on New Year's? Have you been able to keep it? What is a small step towards that resolution you could keep if it's been too challenging so far? So that's your section 3 questions. So you're going to finish up the book and you're going to answer those, and we will meet next week on April 8th. Thanks so much for watching. Bye!
Wasn't that a great video? Clearly books make me very happy. Now you can make me happy too. Click the subscribe button to follow my channel. Don't forget to give me a thumbs up if you think I did good. And the notification bell will let you know when I post new content. Also, follow my Instagram for more book shenanigans.